There's not a single statue of him and no streets bearing his name. But here in Cuba, Fidel Castro is everywhere. The leader of the country's communist revolution is one of the most divisive figures of the 20th century. When Castro's guerrilla fight overthrew the US-backed Batista dictatorship in 1959, the 32-year-old seized control of the island and implemented a series of socialist reforms.
Ni bajo esa bandera ni bajo ninguna otra podrá venir nadie a inspeccionar nuestro país. Nosotros sabemos lo que hacemos y sabemos cómo debemos defender nuestra integridad y nuestra soberanía.
He became a national hero among lower-class Cubans as he brought in social welfare programs that included free education, healthcare, housing and food.
We always had to keep an eye because Fidel didn't think much of his security. He would just escape to go and have a sandwich with ordinary people. He never felt the pressure of his status. He would just run off to the beach alone or to the cinema. He remained connected to his people.
Cuba is Fidel Castro's living legacy, and here he's seen as a father figure. Yo soy Fidel, or I am Fidel, is a popular slogan still used to identify with him, and being Fidelista is considered the right ideological way of thinking. And although Fidel Castro fulfilled his promises for egalitarian policies, he did not fulfill one for democratic elections within 6 months, and he quickly became the only option for Cuba. His regime grew increasingly intolerant against other views, and many dissidents were rounded up and incarcerated. The confiscation of land and assets from the wealthy in the name of socialism triggered a mass exodus of middle-class Cubans. Today, Miami's neighborhood of Little Havana is home to tens of thousands of US residents of Cuban descent. Roberto moved here after being detained 4 times in Cuba as a 17-year-old for collecting artwork that was censored by the regime.
Today, I dedicate my life to trying to recuperate Cuba's history and culture predating 1959, which the government has banned, because it's not convenient for them to talk about Havana's capitalist history before the revolution, when it used to be one of the most developed cities in the region.
More than 1 million Cubans remain in diaspora, many of them unable or unwilling to return. Back in Cuba, their departure isn't seen as a problem for the revolution, but almost as part of its natural course. Fidel Castro handed power to his brother Raúl in 2008. As president, Raúl Castro took steps to modernize Cuba's economy, but he did not change much about the nation's socialist way of life. The state still provides many basic necessities for Cubans. Resources are distributed equally and sparingly, so no one is well off. Merilis is a famous opera singer in Cuba. She leads a lifestyle very similar to her neighbors. She shops at the only food market in her neighborhood, where everyone's allocated a set amount of food rations. And while they're not exactly spoiled for choice, the government guarantees they won't go hungry. She makes $30 a month, well above an average Cuban salary.
Entonces, mira, por ejemplo, estas personas aquí tienen 2 tanques y tienen uno elevado ahí arriba.
My salary easily covers all of my bills. And you know, we're all given basic necessities by the state, but it's not enough to fix my house. I just can't. My whole salary could only buy 2 bags of cement.
Exceptionally low salaries have become a widespread problem. A US-imposed blockade has crippled the Cuban economy, leaving Cubans constantly short of cash and goods. And while prices kept rising, salaries did not. For the first time in 60 years, Cuba will be ruled by a leader who isn't a Castro. Raúl Castro's successor is a 52-year-old engineer, Miguel Diaz-Canel. He's been with the Communist Party since his youth and previously served as an education minister. He also served as a close aide to Raúl Castro. And with Castro still remaining as the head of the Communist Party, many question the extent of Diaz-Canel's power.
The new president, he doesn't have a magic stick that's going to solve all the problems. The problems are the same problems. He is not going to have a different agenda. He is going to have the same agenda. And he doesn't have a magic stick in his hand.
Miguel Diaz-Canel is not expected to make any compromises on Cuba's commitment to the communist revolution, but he's expected to propose economic reforms. It will be a delicate balancing act for the new president to create better economic prospects while preserving a way of life that Cubans cherish. It is Tianshan, TRT World, Havana.